Welcome back, everyone. We're Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, and the pleb sites. Joining us today, he is the captain of our Twitter ship and putting out all kinds of breaking news. That's right. We've got Optimus Fields joining us again on Sundays. This is becoming a regular thing. We love having Optimus here. He loves being here. Anyways, Optimus, say what's up.
What's up, everyone? You're stuck with me every Monday. It's good to be here. Good to see you guys. Love you much. Okay, bye.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. I like that. That was well said. All right, Nico, let's dive into the numbers.
Number time! Brought to you by NODL. They make some of the best Bitcoin nodes. Run your own version of Dojo, Whirlpool, Bitcoin Core, and the Lightning Network, all in the comfort of your own home. Remember, guys, if you don't run your own Bitcoin node like the NODL, you're trusting someone else's. That's a big no-no for privacy, so get yourself a Bitcoin node today like the NODL.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 741,502. The Bitcoin price, 20,550. Chain rewrite days, 747. Total public Lightning capacity, 3,943.27. Moscow time, 4866. Blocks to the halvening, 98,498. And the Samurai Whirlpool unspent capacity. Samurai Whirlpool is a coin join or collaborative spend. It is not a mixing service. And the unspent capacity for that pool is 4,706.96 BTC. That's right. They deserve a whisper, Nico, at the end of the numbers.
Whisper. Dude. Well, are we gonna pull out the jokes again that Bitcoin is the new stable coin? At 20K. There's a too
people are
soon.
gonna just start to get upset.
Or is it
that's
too
what's
soon?
gonna happen, man. We're gonna start to piss people off. They're gonna be like, "This doesn't feel like a stable coin at all."
It might be too soon. Anyways, you guys know the deal. This is Sunday's show, which you guys see on Monday, which means the legendary Optimus Fields, who has to fix his green screen, is going to be hosting it today.
All right, guys, what's up? It's Optimus. I'm here for the numbers. Happy Monday. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. This one is a good one, guys. You might think this is the meme review, but no, this is the numbers. So let's get into this.
This one time, Bitcoin went from 6 cents all the way to 36 cents, and then it crashed down to 21 cents. And then another time, Bitcoin went from 85 cents all the way to $29, and then it crashed to $3. And then another time, Bitcoin went all the way to $213, and then it crashed all the way to $70. And then another time, Bitcoin went all the way to $1,100, and then it crashed all the way to $239. So the moral of the story is don't buy Bitcoin because you know it's going to crash again.
All right, guys. So let's just update this a little bit. We started right here. So you go to 1,100 and then it crashed to $200. And then we go up, and then Bitcoin went to 19K, and then it crashed to 3K. And then Bitcoin went to 69K, and then it crashed, and we're at 20K. So the moral of the story, guys, is don't buy Bitcoin. So, guys, you already know what time it is. You know I got to come here and make some light of the situation because Bitcoin is dead again, and you know that the Bitcoin price is going to crash because that's what Bitcoin does. It goes up and keeps crashing to the right, and it keeps failing as number goes up forever. So, guys, I really hope that by now, as a Simply Bitcoin listener, you understand the game, that Bitcoin is going to go to the moon and then it's going to crash and everyone's going to do their parade and tell you that Bitcoin's dead and we're going to get obituaries. and everyone's going to do their victory dance and the touchdown dances, but we will know that fundamentally nothing has changed, and blocks are still coming in. They are still coming in. Block height is still at all-time high. So guys, you already know, don't buy Bitcoin because it's going to crash. So Nico, Phil, thoughts or opinions?
Yes, I'm so glad you covered that, because so we posted a short this weekend, did pretty well. Shout out Phil, he was right, because I got upset because Phil posted a clip and a short at the same time. I'm like, no, Phil, you can't do that, and he just says no. So he was totally right. Anyways, in this short that blew up, people are so sour when Bitcoin crashes. They're so sour, and the comments were so aggressive. Like, ha ha, I was right. Like, and I don't feel like going through every single one and saying, like, dude, like, zoom out 2 years and talk to me again, right? But there's no point, right? So anyways, I'm going to read one of these comments. It was by Tony Mondola. The Fed took 2 million worth of Bitcoin back from those scammers from Russia who hacked and shut down the pipelines on the East Coast. Though Bitcoin was supposed to be safe from government hackers and theft proof, the Fed already knew more about it than most of the public. You won't be free from anything, no matter how passion determined you are to prove otherwise. It's centralization. Skull emoji. Well, Tony Mondola, if you take self-custody, you could literally take Bitcoin to your grave, and there's no Fed or any government that could do anything about it. So I think you were talking about custodied Bitcoin, but I do appreciate the engagement on the comment. Now, in terms of the price, I thought I was going to read a comment in relation to the price, but that comment was great anyways. But we did get some negative price comments anyways. Yeah. If you're looking at Bitcoin on a year basis, the volatility is crazy, but you can't expect to go to the moon without volatility. Volatility is the price you pay for number go up. So volatility is a good thing, right? So yeah, on a yearly basis, the volatility might go down and to the right, but on a 2, 3, 4 year basis, it goes up and to the right. And I would much rather have something that goes up into the right than a fiat currency that's designed to go down and to the right. Anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts?
I'm definitely concernicus with Tony's comments, because I think he's a little confused as to what's going on here. He kind of just mixed a whole bunch of things together, between the Fed and the oil pipelines and Bitcoin and centralization, and poor Tony's gonna have fun staying poor. I'm sorry. We're not here to teach, Tony. Dude, have fun with that. Enjoy that narrative. I'm not gonna waste my time teaching you about this. Yeah. So look, definitely though, with that fantastic addition to that video, that should be the new "Don't Buy Bitcoin" video, because you added those 2 new price points in, and it's true. Bitcoin's dead. Bitcoin just went below 20K. We're sitting at the previous all-time high. This thing's gone. Yeah, I don't know why anybody's hanging out anymore. We're sitting at the previous all-time high. It's going straight to zero. Look, I can't believe that anybody can actually say that to themselves with a straight face when you think about the size of the network and you think about how many more addresses we have below, what was it, like 0.01 BTC? Listen, the hodlers, all of this is noise right now, okay? I've explained this before. Humans are emotional. Our emotions don't always make sense, and therefore our emotions, in some cases, guide poor decision making, such as possibly dumping at terrible levels. Okay? People get afraid. Not everybody is here with the same timelines. Not everybody is here with the same intentions. Okay? So I would suggest you zoom out, look at the signal. You've got more people adding to the network. More people are learning about Bitcoin. And not only that, but the hash rate. Are we still close to the 200? Or did we just drop slightly below it?
Man, with these prices, I'm telling you right now, the hash rate is gonna take a tumble, baby.
So wait, so now it's a lagging indicator.
No, the hash rate is going down.
Oh, it's going down.
That's going down.
All right, so the hash rate's not a good example, but anyways, everything else is still intact, and I'm still hodling and stacking at these prices because I'm getting so much more corn. Anyways.
Yeah, dude, Tony psychology, it's so fascinating because when the price goes up, right, no comments or like a lot of engagement, but you don't hear from these people. When the price goes down, they come out of their caves. It's like Peter Schiff, like, ha, I got you now. The Bitcoin's dead. And it's funny because, Tony hasn't done his research. He just heard a couple mainstream media talking points. He put it together in his head and he's like, Bitcoin is worthless. I'm smart. Because I saw some headlines on the mainstream media. Like, this is so stupid. Bitcoin has a feature for these people. It leaves them behind. You either get on the train or you have fun staying poor. That's really the reality of the situation. As soon as you come to terms with that fact, the better it is for you. To quote Michael Saylor, everyone gets in at the price they deserve. The question that you have to ask for yourself is, at what price do you want to start stacking sats? Anyways, Phil, it's time for
The Daily Fail. Brought to you by Swan. Check them out, swanbitcoin.com. It's the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with an automated Bitcoin savings plan. They've got an app that's coming out. The link is down below. I think it was hilarious, and I think this tags on perfectly with the numbers, because really the no coiners are just out doing their victory lap with Bitcoin dead at 20K, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen, I think, to date, because it's absolutely ridiculous, and we are just getting some serious hate. All right, let's take a look at some no coiner hate. Here we go. This was a really interesting one. I don't know who this person is, but they've got the blue check mark, or in my case, the white. Actually, it's the black check mark in the white lotus looking thing. Anyways, Grady_Booch. Burn it to the ground and fling its ashes into the center of the sun. Not sure he realizes that Bitcoin is completely digital, so it's completely impossible. And what's hilarious is look at the chart that he chose. So this tells me that he couldn't find a worse chart than Bitcoin being up 689% in the last 5 years. Anyways, I think that this is complete nonsense and ridiculous. And also, it's hilarious, right? Like, this is how you know Bitcoin is actually not dead, because we are sitting here at 20K. These no coiners are crying it, wanting it to die even further. Now, this I thought was totally hilarious. This is a tweet from Odell. It's a nice clip from some corporate-owned media from CNBC. It's Jim Cramer being interviewed by, I think his name is Brian. Right, he's a pretty. He likes to talk about crypto a lot. I know that. I just totally forget what his last name is. Anyways, great tweet from Odell, and I think he's got a very good point. We still got our edge, fam. Stay humble, stack sats. Let's watch this.
You've gotten pretty negative on Bitcoin, so the market can bounce, but Bitcoin goes to zero. Or did you hear Tim Armstrong?
Well,
he's pretty smart. You think Bitcoin bounces from here, or is it over?
Yeah, I think the people who are involved with Bitcoin have to take another stand. Like I like Novogratz. He was out there yesterday. We need some guys to just say, look, this is the level. That's typical of what happens when it's about to really drop big. So they just come on air and they say, listen, I'm umpire.
So you think it's going down a lot
we had Saylor the other day. I mean, hello. If they change the margin rates on crypto, he'd be out in a second. So I do think that they have to make a stand, Joe. They can't let it go down anymore. Whoever the day is, they got to just, they got to hold. It's kind of like Braveheart with that thing.
You saying it goes down another 50% or another 100%?
I think it goes to 12,000, where it was before this whole fiasco began.
Still a lot, though, for something that we don't really know what the heck it is.
Well, it really isn't anything. Right? I mean, maybe it's like a
distributed. It's like a distributed ledger. You can make a case.
I have to hear about that one more time.
Okay.
You've gotten pretty negative.
Okay. So hold on. Before we dive into the main part of the fail, I just want to point out a couple of things. I just want to point out that for some reason, Jim Cramer seems to think that there's a CEO of Bitcoin. There's like a group of people that you can petition. that are going to fix the Bitcoin price or fix the Bitcoin narrative. So I think that that's absolutely hilarious. And the second part to it is that they have no idea what it is. Okay, so he has no idea what it is, and he thinks there's a CEO or there's some kind of a board of directors or there's the they that you can talk to. So this is absolutely hilarious. Nico, what are your thoughts?
I think we hit bottom. I was like, I was skeptical before, but like after seeing that video, we have for sure hit bottom. The reason I say that is because the exact opposite of what Jim Cramer says is usually what comes true. So that's my take. And again, we don't speculate on this channel, etc., etc., etc. That is, I'm adding comedic effect. Anyways, Optimus, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, can someone please call Bitcoin CEO and tell him to
Yellow!
Bitcoin price?
Yellow!
This is ridiculous. We need someone to start pumping this price. But I was going to say the exact same thing as Nico. It's Kramer, guys. He's the best counter indicator. I mean, hello. So, of course, maybe this is bottom. Who knows? But,
Malaka.
man, say do the opposite of what Kramer says and you're going to be winning. So, next question.
Kramer is the counter signal. Okay. All right, we get it, and I agree. We get it, and I agree. Okay, so let's dive into it, because you know what? We had the no coiners this weekend, but something I've noticed that's been happening every weekend is that there's usually a shitcoin that falls apart.
We are so fucking early. I'm sorry, I can't get over that fucking
Oh yeah,
video.
absolutely.
We are so early.
Let's call the Bitcoin CEO, Nico, Optimus. We
It's
need
like
the
those
Bitcoin CEO on the phone.
Bitcoin guys. Like, it's like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Some
we called
distributed
Sailor.
ledger.
Oh my god! You know, you got these guys. You know, we've got Novogratz, we've got Sailor. How come they're not fixing this? We'll get them on the phone, Nico.
I can't believe that's what it's just. They've been in the fiat matrix for so long. That's what you get. You get those creatures, those dinosaurs. Anyways, Phil, I'm sorry. I couldn't contain myself, dude. That was a lot. It was a lot to take in.
Look, it was a heavy video that I had to wait for. I was gonna do it sooner, but I was like, this requires the weekend recap because we need to be in the right state of mind for that video and for Kramer's stupidity. Okay, anyways, I digress. We move forward. So every weekend we seem to have some shitcoin that falls apart, or in some cases it's the same shitcoin that falls apart multiple times. So this weekend, as you could imagine, we are gonna dive into Solana. But you know what? Take a little bit of a different angle on this, because I really have never actually taken the time to figure out what Solana does. I really don't know what it does. I don't think it really does anything. You know, I've heard some shitcoiners dub it as the Ethereum killer, but then I wonder, what's it killing if Ethereum is non-existent? It's like vaporware killing vaporware. All right, so let's dive in. I found this really ridiculous article called "How Does Solana Work? Is Solana Better Than Bitcoin?" That's right. So here we go. It's designed to be the founder. It's okay. I'm serious. We're serious.
The serious so highly accredited.
Highly accredited. Major creds right here. Okay. It's designed to be the foundation for decentralized applications. I like that. Solana's unique architecture allows it to scale horizontally. Okay, so for the people who don't understand, it scales to the side, not up or down. Anyways, provides a highly available service with a single point of failure, single point of truth in the form of a blockchain state. All right, so it's decentralized. It has a single point of truth. Okay. The concept of Solana is to create a decentralized network where applications can run on a high throughput, low latency platform. You getting all this, Optimus, Nico? Sounds compelling. You want to store your funds here? I get it. The most important thing about Solana is its ability to scale up without compromising on security or performance. So it's decentralized, it's secure, it performs well. We've got the trifecta, guys. Here we go. The typical productivity gain for an organization using Solana is around 30% in the first year. It's a good number, with a high chance of reaching 50% or more in the second year. Solana is an AI writing assistant that can help content writers generate content at scale. What? What? Why does this need to be money? Anyways, okay, so, all right, we've got great numbers, secure, productivity, wonderful, fantastic. Okay, so Corey hits the nail on the head. It's a dino. It's decentralized in name only. Why am I saying this, people? Why am I saying this? Because this weekend, Watcher.guru posted Solana-based protocol Solend has voted to temporarily control the largest whale's account to mitigate liquidation risks. That's right. Central point of failure. What's up, Nico? I feel like you wanted to say something right there.
I'm containing myself.
Okay.
Containing myself.
Okay, let's go back to Corey's tweet here because he's retweeting Alex Thorne. Alex Thorne is explaining the following. Basically, there's a levered SOL position in a DeFi lending platform that is dangerously close to liquidation. If liquidated, it'll nuke the SOL price. The DeFi platform's DAO voted to seize the funds and liquidate OTC. Funny part is, approximately $1 million of governance tokens voted to seize $270 million worth of SOL. That's right. More or less, approximately $1 million worth of governance tokens seized control of $270 million worth of SOL. So SOL also stands for shit out of luck. It's interesting that that's their ticker symbol because indeed, the SOL holders are shit out of luck. This should tell you why you do not want to be sticking your value in this type of coin. Okay? And here's another tweet just to help illustrate the problem that happened, right? The same liquidation problem. This is from @Dagnum_PI. So he's also explaining that SOL is about to get liquidated and that a whale had to deposit 5.7 million SOL, which is 170 million, and borrowed 108 million USDC and USDT borrowed to prevent this. And they're proposing to literally steal the user's funds to execute the OTC trade. So that's right. They're going to seize all the funds that are required in order to stop this liquidation event from happening. The people who hold the governance tokens. This is completely insane and scary. And of course, you have to leave it up to the Bitcoiners to just really make this into something absolutely hilarious. @Grubels tweeted Stealana. And then Durgigi retweeted Stolana. The stealing is already in the past. And then this is actually my favorite tweet of all because it really does describe the problem intimately. Step 1, meet in Discord. Step 2, decide who to steal from. Step 3, we don't know. And step 4, profit. Okay.
Phil, could you go back to the screenshot of the official announcement and just take a look?
Absolutely.
It's the justification of the theft. Like just look, it's giving you options. Do you want me to read it or do you want to read it?
I'll read it over if you want. So here we go, okay? It's to grant emergency power to Solend Labs to temporarily take over the whale's account so the liquidation can be executed OTC and avoid pushing Solana to its limits. This would be done via a smart contract upgrade. Emergency powers will be revoked once the whale's account reaches a safe level. You'll notice they're not telling you what the safe level is. So here we go. The vote. Vote yes. Enact special margin requirements for large whales that represent over 20% of borrows and grant emergency power to Solend Labs to temporarily take over the whale's account so the liquidation can be executed OTC. Or you can vote no. Do nothing. Oh my gosh. This is really, really cringe. I had to retweet this today and I said, it's that moment when you realize that you are the exit liquidity. I mean, look, you know, we obviously kid the shit coins, right? But at the end of the day, there's a reason why we continually kid them, and there's a reason why we continually bring these cases to your attention over and over again. Like, we're not kidding, because you got to realize once this money is gone, it's gone. And the problem is that you're once again putting your trust, your time, your value into someone else's hands that really doesn't give a shit. So we are here to tell you, if you are going to move your money to what you believe to be something decentralized, for what you believe something to be uncensorable or that can't be confiscated from the government, then we are here to tell you the only option that you truly have is Bitcoin. So, and we're going to keep pulling these shitcoin stories out one after another to prove it to you. Anyways, Nico.
Yeah, dude, we were freaking right. We were spot on. The writing was on the wall when they froze the chain a couple months ago. We called you. We told you guys this is not decentralized. Look, if you want to separate money from state, if you want humanity to take the next step, right? Private property for all. You need to take the ability of the mob, also known as government, their ability to democratically, right, steal other people's money with a majority vote, okay? Bitcoin is rules without rulers, period. Doesn't matter if all the Bitcoin community comes together and says, I want to take Bitcoin away from that address, give it to everybody else, wealth redistribute, whatever you want to call it. No. It's a hard no, right? And what are the benefits of that? No censorship. Censorship resistant, better said, right? The lack of the government to enforce inflation in order to pay for their own bills, right? If they could do this, right, they could freeze anybody's account. They could just take the wealth, okay? It's decentralization as long as things are going good. But as soon as shit hits the fan, have you ever heard that? Temporarily enact emergency measures. How many times have you heard that? Remember when Richard Nixon said in 1971, we're going to temporarily stop the convertibility of gold. It's always temporary, but it never is freaking temporary. It's a shitcoin. It's worse than a shitcoin. It's a centralized. They're all centralized. And look, I'm telling you that when Ethereum moves to proof of stake, same goddamn shit's gonna happen. Okay, they're just gonna come up with an excuse. Listen, if it's not decentralized from day one, the incentives to decentralize it in the future, every day that it's not decentralized, right? The incentives just grow stronger and stronger for the party or the elite or the shitcoin devs that control that shitcoin, not to make it decentralized, but they're sure gonna market to you as decentralized. This is a clown show. You can't separate money from state with this. If you think some devs, because they're hurt financially, can co-opt it this easily by voting by mass majority, a government's going to be able to do it in the future also. Oh, man. This is the opposite of rules without rulers, bro. This is a clusterfuck. And you know what, Phil? We've been calling this for a very, very long time, to toot our own horn.
Before we go to Optimist, wow. I just want to add to what you're saying. Beacon Chain will be ETH's rug pull. People think that it's the shitcoin casino that's the rug pull, but I'm telling you, Beacon Chain has $33 billion locked into it. That's going to be their quote unquote move to proof of stake. When that happens, that's going to be the rug pull for ETH. Anyways,
dude, look, we need to learn as a species, right? Centralization, right? That's what banking is. That's what central banking is, right? It's this giant centralization, central planning. What you're seeing from the Solana guys is a form of central planning. Let me steal from the haves to give to the have-nots. And this goes back to something that I've been saying for so long, Phil, that the shitcoiners remind me of collectivists. Collectivization is death. Individuality is the future. Individualism is the future. And only Bitcoin is going to enable that. The shitcoins provide this false sense of illusion that it has decentralization. But when push comes to shove, right, whether it's Vitalik, stop the trading, their real cards get revealed every single time. As soon as shit hits the fan, boom. With Bitcoin, who are you going to call? Seriously, who are you going to call? There is no one to call. And that is a feature and not a bug. Wow, dude. Wow. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts on this, brother?
Man, The shitcoin grift, it really gets your blood boiling when you see things like this. Like, it's really amazing that people still fall for this, and I really love the framing that Corey did. The DinoFi, that's hilarious. Decentralized in name only. I think we've been saying that for a few weeks now about how you can put decentralized in front of anything, and people are gonna like consider it decentralized, but. Man, this is crazy that they're voting for wealth theft on the blockchain. They're voting for bailouts on the blockchain. Socialism on the blockchain.
It's the same as the system we have today. Nothing's changed, dude. But you don't think central banking is the same? The bailout, it's the same goddamn thing. It's the same thing.
Exactly the same thing. On the blockchain. Much innovation.
It's on the blockchain, though, so it's decentralized. Like, it's so freaking
ridiculous.
stupid.
One point I want to add, though. I saw on a Twitter thread that apparently there was like 1 million something votes for this to happen.
Yeah.
And 1 million plus of those votes came from one entity. So back to what we're saying about proof of stake and shitcoinery, about this is where the real true centralization happens, that this is why those whales are able to control this network, is because of situations exactly like this.
So it sounds to me like it's one whale that didn't want another whale. It's like there's two whales battling it. I'm sorry.
And the peasants are the casualties.
Ridiculous.
Dude, it's so...
How much you want to bet one of those whales is A16Z? Sorry, Nico.
Man. No, you're absolutely right, dude. It's so freaking stupid, man. Democratic money sucks. Okay, it's terrible. We need rules without rulers, which is only Bitcoin can provide, because it's the only truly decentralized cryptocurrency. Therefore, it's the only technology, only tool we have to separate money from state. If you could vote something, a government could capture it. And that's a big no-no. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin cultural zine. It's stories, articles, comics by actual Bitcoiners. This is the every volume has different artwork. This is the artwork for volume 10, volume 2, volume 11, and they're scarce. There's only 1,000 physical copies made per volume, so get your prints of Citadel 21 today before they run out. All right, everybody, first meme is brought to us by Sai, and he is replying to a comment by our own Coin Icarus, also known as Phil, also known as Copper Nixon. Some really salty no-coiners out this weekend. Bitcoin not dead. Think about Tony's comment in the beginning. Bro, how the F do Bitcoins work? This is, if you want to know what Tony looks like when he wrote that comment, there you go. All right. Anyways, here is Bitcoin Meme Hub. Yes, I told you to cash out at 69K. Yes. So what are we gonna do now? Stack more. They don't understand. We won't go back to slavery money. Here's Rothmus. If I had $1 for every time collectivism worked, I would have $0. Coincidentally, if it did work, I would also have $0. I gotta keep getting into the habit of saying that, because collectivism is behind all these terrible ideologies, whether it's communism, socialism, fascism. It's all the same thing. It's all collectivism, right? So individualism good, collectivism bad. I got to start to get into the habit of that. Anyways, next one, by thinking about Bitcoin. When you're looking at price charts too long, instead of focusing on consistent stacking over time, dude, check out those mountains. Oh man. Okay, next one by Run the Banks. You panic sell, I panic stack. We are not the same. Absolutely true. This is what Bitcoiners do. This is what Jim Cramer doesn't understand. Next one by Elsie Hoddle, not Elsie Hoddle. Did you know, in order to play the role of an insane and mentally depressed person in the movie Joker, Joaquin Phoenix leverage traded Bitcoin? All right, next one by Corn DeLorean. Debating whether an idiot is a waste of time. They'll have fun staying poor no matter what you say. Me. Inflation isn't caused by money printing. Mew. It's so true. Like, at this point, we're at this year, and you're still saying that. Like, you deserve to hold all the fiat in the world forever and see how you feel about it. Anyways, for those awesome memes, I'm going to give it a lemon. But not only is it a lemon, it's a lemon that's cut in half. So it's a half lemon. Woo! Wow, wow, wee, wow. Anyways, Phil, what would you give those memes?
your score is going to go perfect with my score because mine is a half finished cerveza.
Cerveza.
Right. Mostly finished. 3/4 finished.
Phil's been in a week in Florida, and one show he shows up drunk, and another show he shows up sunburnt. Welcome to Florida, Phil. Phil's in the process of becoming a Florida man. Anyways, Opti, what would you give those awesome memes?
All right, so good memes, guys, and I finally got my represent package in, and part of that package was this epic sticker. Let's see if you can see this. Oh,
Very good.
kind of get it. You kind of got it. You kind of got it.
Very nice. Very nice. Anyways, guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores, you disagree. Let us know down in the comment section. Comment. Make sure to join our awesome Telegram group. It's a party in there. There's plebs posting memes. It's a grand old time. And, of course, make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms for obvious reasons, like rumble.com and our personal favorite, bitcointv.com. They don't censor there because it's Bitcoin TV. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
The Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade toy. Comes in any custom color your heart desires. You want an orange? What about Peter Schiff colors? He does that. You want a custom node case? This one I made for my girlfriend. You can get in any custom color. Also, the European store is now open, and you could check out their open source files on the Crypto Cloaks online website, and you can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 10% off anything CryptoCloaks.com. All right, everybody. So I was actually going to make a separate video on this. And what I'm talking about is Ray Dalio came out with his book, really, and he actually came out with a video called Ray Dalio Changing World Order, and the video has over 15 million views. And the argument that Ray Dalio is making is that like life, empires go through cycles, right? So we all know before the American Empire really rose to prominence after the victory in World War II, it was Great Britain, right? And then before that, it was another people. And then before that is another people. I would like to make the argument that if fiat currency were to continue, I think Ray Dalio is spot on, right? I think that the U.S. is clearly on the decline. You see that with the moral decay of society. You see that with the corruption. You see that with the wealth inequality. And then China would take its place. China is the rising world order. And that's actually the case that Ray Dalio makes in his book, in his video. I really recommend that video. It's fascinating, very good production, animation, all that stuff. Anyways, let me read some of this article that does a brief synopsis of all this. Anyways, just check it out. It says, just as there is a human life cycle that typically lasts about 80 years, give or take, and no two are exactly the same, but most are similar, there's an analogous empire's life cycle that has its own typical patterns. And here he has a picture of it. In the beginning of the cycle, the New World Order, peace, prosperity, productive debt growth, debt bubble, and big wealth gap. And then it reaches the pinnacle, and then it starts going down, debt burst, an economic downturn, sounds familiar, printing money and credit, revolution, wars, debt, and political restructuring, New World Order. And this makes sense, guys. Think about what has happened in the last 5 years, right? We had the rise of populism. We have candidates like Bernie Sanders. You have candidates like Donald Trump, right? You had the 2008 financial crisis. Now think about peak America, the 1950s, right? And this really starts to make sense. Peace, prosperity, and productive debt growth, right? And then in brief, after the creation of a new set of rules established a New World Order, this typically follows a war, by the way. There's typically a peaceful and prosperous period, right, after World War II in the United States. As people get used to this, they increasingly bet on this prosperity to continue, and they increasingly borrow money to do that, which eventually leads to a bubble. As the prosperity increases, the wealth gap grows. Eventually, the debt bubble bursts, which leads to the printing of money and credit, and increased internal conflicts, which leads to some sort of wealth redistribution revolution that could be peaceful or violent. That is what has happened, repeatedly happened through time. The line in the chart signify the relative power of the 11 most powerful empires over the last 500 years. In the chart below, you can see where the US and China are currently in their cycles. As you can see, the United States is now the most powerful empire by not much. It is in relative decline. Chinese power is rapidly rising, and no other powers come close. And here's a simplified version of the chart, right? This includes all the previous old empires and stuff. Here's a more simplified version where he takes out all the junk. But the most aesthetically pleasing version that obviously simplifies the hell out of it is this chart. It goes by how many years, right? And here's the Netherlands, here is Great Britain, here's the US, and then the rising power of China. Now, I mentioned I was going to make a video of this earlier, and I actually prepared a thumbnail that I got a fellow pleb to prepare for us, Rusty, which I'll pull up for you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But I actually ran into a video of Brian Armstrong making the exact same point that I was going to make in this video, and I actually wanted to play it for you guys, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Anyways, let's check it out.
Every fiat currency historically starts off connected to some kind of hard commodity, like gold or something. But every single one of these fiat currencies in history, I think there's been thousands of them, they eventually, break the peg with the hard commodity underneath, and then they eventually inflate it away. And then there becomes a new world order. And it seems to be this unchangeable law or something like that, because basically the political consequences of having austerity are too high. Nobody wants to do it. And so the expedient thing to do is always basically to print. And so, look, I think there could be scenarios where this doesn't happen. Maybe the US gets like a new compelling leader in office, some kind of turnaround with like science and technology and education that actually leads to a new wave of innovation. But frankly, it doesn't seem to be super competent in a variety of areas, right? And so, I hate to criticize without providing solutions. So I don't mean that as like a negative attack on any particular person or group or whatever. I always want to be part of the solution. But my overall thesis, I think, is that crypto represents a really compelling alternative for the West and Western values to basically embrace decentralization as the new world order, because otherwise the Chinese yuan may become the new reserve currency of the world. And if I think China's doing many good things, but they're also not aligned with our values. When I say our, I mean like U.S. Western liberal values. And so it may be actually beneficial to have a decentralized West to compete with a centralized East, and that could be the new world order. You could call it a U.S. world order, but it's really going to be more of a crypto as a transnational reserve currency order.
So look, when I was already coming to these conclusions on my own. And then when I heard the CEO of Coinbase come to the same conclusion that, I think that Ray Dalio's spot on in his observation in terms of, yes, I think that we're in the middle of a changing world order. Where I think he gets it wrong is he doesn't understand that because of technology, right? I think that technology is outpacing these old archaic institutions, and it's giving the individual access to freedom, the likes of which we've never seen before. The book The Sovereign Individual touches on this a lot, right? So I think that in the future, it's not so much the centralized power, who has the most centralized power, because if that was the case, I think China is going to outpass the United States. It's a decentralized world, right? The balance of power, which is something that I've said many times on this show, violence doesn't give the same return in a decentralized world the way it used to, right? Before it was who had the most amount of guns, right? That kind of goes away when an individual could store millions, billions, if not trillions of dollars in their mind. So I think Ray Dalio's wrong. I think he's spot on if we stayed in the fiat system. But I think that in a Bitcoin world, I don't think that theory applies. And if you still look and connect the dots, right? Why do you think China banned Bitcoin? Why? Why is that? Why did they ban Bitcoin mining? Why did they pass a law that says if you get caught with Bitcoin or transacting in Bitcoin, you get 10 years in prison and you get a $250,000 fine? That's fear. They're doing that out of fear. And the incentive is so great that it's estimated that between 10 to 15% of the hash rate is still in China. So again, I think that the old model of the nation state, and it was the nation state that issued the currency, I think it's dying. And I think that we're seeing that. I think we're seeing the cracks of the nation state model. Look at their response to the pandemic. And it's not only money that's decentralizing, it's also information. Look at how the legacy media is vying to try to keep everyone's attention by dividing everyone and selling people on propaganda. And you have Joe Rogan, a dude on his microphone, absolutely crushing their numbers. The old model of centralized information, gatekeeping information, and centralized money and gatekeeping money is dying. It's dead. And I don't think that Ray Dalio's model in this new world, or like what Corey likes to say, this bright orange future, right? I don't think it applies. And I think that if America wants to stay ahead of China, it has to stop fighting Bitcoin and embrace decentralization. But if it embraces decentralization, that means that a lot of bureaucrats that are used to having this godlike power are going to have to give it up. And they're going to have to give it up to individuals, right? So I think this is going to play out whether the bureaucrats fight it. The best that they could do is delay it. But I think that this is an inevitability because, like I always say, Bitcoin's incentives are stronger than government coercion. And that's just a fact, right? And I think the Chinese mining is an example of that. So anyways, I thought that was really interesting. I was going to do a whole video on just that alone, like a new series for Simply Bitcoin. But when I saw that Brian Armstrong video and he was basically coming to the same exact conclusion that I did, I thought I had to bring it to you guys immediately. One correction for Brian before I shut up. It's not crypto. And the Solana example that Phil so beautifully covered in the fail is why it's not crypto. You can't have a centralized, if it's a centralized cryptocurrency, that means it could be co-opted by a nation state. It could be co-opted by a government. For this decentralized New World Order model, it has to be rules without rulers, which is why Jack Dorsey is building Web 5 on top of Bitcoin and not these VC-controlled shitcoins, right? It has to be decentralized, which is why we're a Bitcoin-only channel. Right? Which I know a lot more will appreciate during the bear market because this is when all the shit coins get crushed. Anyways, Phil, I know that was a lot to put together, but I've been thinking about this a lot, so I know it wasn't that disorganized.
No, dude, that was amazing. I mean, look, so first off, I'm really surprised that Brian Armstrong has, sometimes he really does surprise me that he has great takes, but then he's such a shitcoiner. Like, I just don't get it. Like, if he understands all of this, how does he sit there and push shitcoins? There's proof.
Incentives.
I know, but that's the thing, right? There's plenty of, there are quite a few successful companies that do Bitcoin only, okay? So it's not that you can't be successful and be Bitcoin only. It's like he just rather, I guess it's more important to him to be everything to everyone. But anyways, look, that aside, I think he hit the nail on the head, right? The decentralized West versus the East.
That's actually the foreword of Sovereign Individual. What you just said, it was by Peter Thiel, and he says that it's going to be the new Chinese collectivist model based on central bank digital currencies, and the West, right, based on individualism. However, I'm worried because some in the West are trying to double down on the collectivist thing, where I think the West should play on its strengths. And its strengths is individualism. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Phil.
No, not at all. Not at all. I appreciate that. And I mean, look, it's a good addition to it because, look, it's true. What you're saying is absolutely correct. There are pockets of strange, I mean, I call them strange because I just don't understand how these people can't see the infiltration, right? Like I just don't get how you can't see it. It's really in plain daylight. And unfortunately, this is a kind of like a mini battle that's going to play out before the real kind of battle that plays out. The other piece to it is this, right? As you look at those market cycles, I was thinking to myself, where are we right now? And I'll tell you this. We didn't let, we've discussed this in the past. In 2008, we didn't let those companies fail, right? I don't know if anybody remembers the too big to fail narrative. And these companies, hey, they were too big to fail. You can't let them fail. They got to be bailed out. So these companies, right, they were essentially bailed out from fellow dinosaur companies that also should have failed. Really, the way you have to think of it is that some people were told, okay, listen, you're going to be part of the people that fail and you're going to be part of the people that succeed. And the reason why this happens is because of the money printer and the Cantillon effect. So my point is that although we seem to be in the money printing and credit phase of this whole thing, I actually think that we're starting already the revolution and war phase. I actually think that that's already started to play out. And the reason why it's not so apparent is because we haven't let the previous cycles, the bubbles burst. They haven't burst properly. And as a result, what we have right now is an illusion. And that's why we're not really seeing it. But make no mistake, I think that we are in the beginnings of revolution and war, whatever form that takes, whether it's kinetic, whether it's informational, so on. So anyways, just some thoughts on that.
I mean, you definitely see that in the West, right? I've never seen society in the United States this polarized, right? So you really start to connect the dots with what Ray Dalio is saying. Right. And then you see that with the rise in popularity of populist politicians, right? Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump. So, yeah, I agree. I think that this is I think it's history playing itself out. But I think with Bitcoin, it really gives us a chance to finally break that cycle. That cycle of boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust. But it plays out over such long time scales that from a human's perspective, you really can't see it unless you really zoom out. So anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Well, what Phil said just kind of got a heavy air in the room about us being in the beginning of the revolution and war. But
peaceful. Bitcoin's the peaceful revolution,
exactly,
baby.
The peaceful one. But just to add on, I don't think it's a stretch at all. I think anyone that is actually paying attention understands that this cycle is happening of the dollar empire in decline. At least on the world stage, there is a lot of mistrust going on in the financial world if you're paying attention. But just to put my tinfoil hat on, I know the conspiracy theorists are going to have a blast with this wording about the decentralized new world order coming from Brian Armstrong's mouth. And in my opinion, it sounded like he was endorsing China a little bit. But hey, I'm not here to talk about all the conspiracy theorists. I do believe that you guys have a point in saying, I think we all know that something is coming up the pipeline and it's going to knock the Bitcoin dollar reserve status from the championship position, and it's going to be Bitcoin.
Yeah,
we all know this.
Yeah, and what we've always said, right? We've said this many times. It's Bitcoin or slavery. Slavery is central bank digital currencies, the China model, or Bitcoin, which is freedom money. So hopefully not too many bureaucrats in the way. I mean, they're going to, because power is intoxicating. But hopefully they don't make the transition too rough on the rest of us. Like we're seeing in European countries, and you're seeing all these attacks on proof of work where they should really be doubling down on that innovation, because it's what keeps Bitcoin uncorruptible. Anyways, Phil, there was an open source software release by the NODL guys. Why don't you tell everybody?
Software releases brought to you by CipherSafe. Check them out, cyphersafe.io. I've got no paper around. You don't need any paper. What you need is to store your seed in the cipher wheel or the all-new cipher grid. They both come with a tamper-resistant wire, and the grid comes with a punch tool. All right, we've got NODL version 0.1.3D as in Delta that was released. It's down below in the show notes. That's right, if you've got a NODL, don't forget to upgrade your node. And, of course, for our audio-only platforms, don't forget to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. We appreciate all the love. Stream us sats through Breeze.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, I want to give a very special shout out to fellow pleb. He's going to start writing during the bear market. Go check out Pirate Beach Bum's Bear Market Diaries, where he's going to interview most toxic plebs and how they feel about the current bear market. Also, want to give a very special shout out to our awesome clothing sponsor, representltd.com. Optimus is wearing the hoodies, Phil is wearing the hoodie, I'm wearing the hoodie, we're all wearing the hoodies because they're super comfortable. You can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 10% off, representltd.com. Anyways, guys, before we go, so I'm going to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest. He co-hosts with us on Sunday, which the episode comes out on Monday, the legendary My Live in Truth, also known as Optimus Fields. Anyways, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do, smash that like button. Of course, if you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective and the catastrophic fails from the same perspective, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys.
Never forget, Bitcoin is dead at the previous cycle's all-time high.